Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN, and welcome into another edition of Sports Flash. And this is a very special Sports Flash for me. I've admired this gentleman as a coach for a long, long time. Coach Gucciardo, Springfield High School. Coach Gooch, the success of Springfield is unprecedented. You've had a Hollywood movie kind of season. I think I got so excited about your season. I was talking to your kids in a previous Sports Flash, and I said it's the first time in the playoffs ever, but it's really the first time since '94. Yeah, I got carried away. You know, you guys put up numbers on Friday night when we do the highlights. It's like Sports Center on ESPN watching what you guys do. Have you? And you've had great teams. You've had great quarterbacks. You've had great receivers. I don't know if you've ever had a running back like Mr. Koback, but have you ever had as many weapons on one offense as you do with these fellas?
It's been very comparable to 2007 when we had Troy Bell at start. We had Brad Leisman, we had Sherrod Thompson. And
I remember Leisman.
Yeah, those guys were extremely exciting to watch as well, and these guys have surpassed everything that they've done, and that's not to take away anything from the 2007 team. But those are some of the goals that we're always looking to motivate kids in different ways, and we use that 2007 team on a regular basis on how to run our offense, and these guys have now set the precedent on how to run the offense. So from this point on, it's going to be, can you do what the 2015 teams have done and those players have done to run and emulate the offense that these guys have put together, because they are, you know, the best that we've ever had.
I know that you got an incredible staff and how much you respect them, and I think the gentleman that you just named, was it your 2007 quarterback? Isn't he working with you now with quarterbacks on your staff? Is that correct?
Yes, Brad Leisman coaches quarterbacks, and he's Scotty's coach.
Yeah. So that's worked out pretty well. Talk about the circle completing itself. You know, you coached Brad and did a great job with Brad, and now Brad's doing a great job with Scotty. You know, the fun and gun used to always, to me, was really about the pass initially first, and you brought enthusiasm and excitement everywhere you went with your fun and gun. But now, I mean, people can't just load up on the pass. You run the ball so well. Has that been an adjustment for you in the fun and gun, or is it just because Brian Koback can run the ball so well? I mean, kind of take me inside that a little bit. Right.
Back at the start days, it was a little bit more pass heavy because you're playing teams with Central, St. Francis, St. John's, and Whitmer week in and week out. With the size that those guys brought to the table, we're able to be much more balanced in the NLL and run the ball with someone like Koback, with someone like Aaron Harris, someone like Elijah Todd, who have all been first-team, all-league tailbacks in the last 3 years, and now we've got another one, I'm sure. So we are able to run the football a little bit more, which makes it, play calling as a coach, much more simplistic, and it has to make the defensive coordinators a little bit more crazy because.
Well, how do you defend you guys? If you load up on the run, obviously they can't load up on the run because you're going to go over the top, and you prove you can do that. But then if you load up on the pass, you've proven that you can run the football as well as anybody in town. So. Coach, when you start the season in July, you do the night workouts and you get in double sessions and all of that. In your wildest dreams, did you see this unfolding this way? Did you really feel, hey, this is going to happen, or did it catch you a little by surprise?
Well, we thought we had a playoff team last year, and I think these kids fed off of last year's slip-up, and we had a slip-up against Bowling Green last year, which would have put us in the playoffs, and ironically, that was the team that put us into the playoffs this year, and these kids understood the work ethic that it took in the off-season and the investment that they have from December all the way through two-a-days. They refuse to lose. They refuse to give up. They are overly conditioned. When you watch our kids on the field, as soon as there's a touchdown, when we score, our kickoff team is on the field, and we sometimes look at the other team and they're off to the side getting water and this and that, and our kickoff team's ready to go, and it's just because of how hard they've worked in the off season. Yeah, we saw this coming a little bit, but we saw it last year too, and I thought that team was a playoff team as well, 7-3, and that team could have been in the playoffs, but one more win would have put us in for sure. So they sort of fed off of last year's group.
Coach, you're a great family man. I watch you interact with your family. You're a great family man. You have a great balance. Sometimes guys in football get so overtaken by the game that they lose that balance. It becomes football first and the family is a little bit further down the road. You've always maintained that balance. You've always been a great family man, and I think that's wonderful for your kids on the football team to see. But but I know what the wives mean in football. I know how much they sacrifice and how hard that is. Talk about your family support.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, our coaching staff is never home, and there is a balance, but you know, it's who you're, you know, who we are, you know, right. And if you can't spend that time to, you know, put into the game and because you have to be there to win games, you right. know, then you got to give it up. And I'm lucky enough to have a support staff that, you know, wants that goal to be achieved and is a part of that. So, you know, and it's nice that the kids are getting older now. I'm actually getting to see them play. I haven't seen my son, either one of my sons, play football in the last 3 or 4 years because we're at practice. And so I finally got a chance to see my oldest son play.
Is he a freshman?
He's a freshman right now, and so I got to see his games. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And a little bit of my youngest son at 8th grade, I get to see a quarter of his games on Wednesday when they're home.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, there is a balance, but there's a lot of sacrifices too. And
right.
and that's I know every coach is the same way.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting to me. Your dad was an iconic coach in our community forever at Whitmer, and then it's got to be a very prideful thing for him and you to have you reaching that level. You know, very rarely does when someone in the family reaches that kind of legendary status, someone else in the same occupation normally doesn't, you know, quite make that climb, and you have. That's got to be a great sense of pride for your dad and for you.
Yeah, I love seeing him on the sidelines. He's always down in the corner of the end zone, and he celebrates every touchdown with the players that come to the end zone. I'm sure you guys have seen him in the highlights.
Yeah, we've seen him on film.
Right, right. And that means a lot to me that he's there and that he cares that much. And I know the kids see him out at practice all the time, and they all go talk to him, give him a hug, and, you know, that type of stuff. And I know it means a lot to them, too, because they know that he generally cares about, you know, them as people and them as, you know, growing and as football players and things like that. So it's great to have that type of role model around.
Coach, I don't want to jump too far ahead on you. I know you still have another game to play in the regular season, but you've clinched a playoff spot, and we congratulate you, your coaches, and your team on that. But I wanted to ask you, you know, playoff football is different. Your kids will find out. I was surprised when I got involved in the playoffs at St. John's a number of years. We were lucky to be in playoffs. Everything's accelerated. It's faster. You know, the hitting is more fierce. It's faster. Everything like ratchets up a couple of notches. Do you have any kind of special preparation for the playoffs that you're going to do, or do you just say, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do? What are your thoughts going into that?
Right, that's a great question. We basically have prepared for the playoffs since week 1, and I've told the kids that you know, we're preparing for the playoffs against Fremont Ross, against Bowser, against Woodward, and we've been doing it. And every scouting packet has said state playoffs on it. Their T-shirts say state playoffs on it before the season even started. Those type of things we want to instill into the kids and just kind of burn that in their brain that this is our goal, and you don't want to settle for anything less than this, and this is how we're going to prepare to get there. So to change something now in week 11 would kind of go away from what we started from, and I'm real happy with our plan. The coaches might spend a little bit extra time on Sunday night in the film room and things like that, and maybe with the kids after practice is over. But our preparation on the field and the way that we do things with special teams, with all offense and defense every day, and the way that we split practice up and things like that, those will remain the same. We may put a little bit of extra film work in and things like that, but because these teams are so unknown, you know, we know Perrysburg, we know Napoleon, we know those teams.
Week after week.
I don't know Cleveland Glenville, you know, or Avon, the two teams that are rumored to be one of our opponents. So,
gotcha. Coach, on behalf of Buckeye Cable and BCSN, I've admired you for years as a coach, but more importantly as a person and what you stand for and what you do for young kids. Kids in your program become better people for having been in your program, and I think that's the ultimate compliment that you can give a coach, and we wish you nothing but the best, Gooch.
Thank you
All right,
much.
Go get him, Coach.
You got it.
Tom Cole for Buckeye Cable and BCSN.